To begin my forecast today, I'm going to be taking a look at the real-time water vapor imagery with an overlay of the RAP analysis of the 500 millibar, as well as with the vorticity maxima. So these X's right here, those are the indicators that are model-derived indicators of where the strongest levels or strongest areas of vorticity are, or in other words, where the greatest amount of cyclonic spin is. And that's going to be helping drive the upward vertical motion needed to generate any thunderstorms. And so if you take a look right here, this vortmax is going to be the driving factor for these storms right in this area, this large cloud shield that has some embedded thunderstorms in it. That's going to be one of the main areas I'm going to be looking at as this low transits to the northeast. Now that I've taken a look at what's actually happening real time, I'm going to start digging into the models. So this is the HRRR from the latest model run. The low level jet is looking very strong, and it has been very consistent with having this intense strength over the past few model runs as well. So right now, looking at the biggest threat being in this general region right in here, and so that's going to just only amplify through the night. Um, I would say the peak time is going to be between 7 p.m. and to around midnight Central Time. With that strong low level jet, it is also bringing a lot of really intense cape through this corridor between along central United States. There's also this tornado threat that's in the southwest Oklahoma, which I'll have to dig into on a separate forecast that will be out shortly after this. But right now, primarily focusing on the moderate area of severe weather to occur today. If you've watched my videos before, you know I'm very, very big on having intense lapse rates along with a strong cape. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But yeah, strong cape. You need to have steep lapse rates as well, which we unfortunately do have, and that's going to be helping drive that uh, signal for having severe weather today, potentially some strong tornadoes. Looking at a more localized area for the dew points this afternoon, really high dew points are a really good indicator of having that unstable lower atmosphere. That's really going to help drive that moisture that's needed for having increased supercell development. If we take a look at the temperatures as well, obviously it's a pretty nice spread between the dew point and temperature. We have 74 here and 68 dew point here. Let's take a look at the sounding. I've seen several model runs provide a PDS tornado possible hazard type. So this is obviously something that needs to be taken very seriously because we could have the potential for a strong to violent tornado today. The first thing that catches my eye, besides the PDS tornado hazard type, is how the winds are turning clockwise with height. And so that's a really good indicator of having that really strong shear needed to produce intense supercells. A potential limiting factor for having strong to violent tornadoes would be how the winds increase with the max speeds at the mid levels at around 75 knots, and then they begin to decrease at the equilibrium level or where the top of the anvil is, down to about 55 to 45 knots. And so that could be something that would decrease the potential for having strong to violent supercells or strong to violent tornadoes as well. So, with all these factors in mind, the significant tornado parameter is still very strong. So, that means that the environment still has the potential for creating a strong tornado. In other words, EF2 plus. So, that threat primarily lives in this general region right here, northeast Iowa, southeast Minnesota, west central Wisconsin, and so on. So, yeah, just this region right in here, with the strongest being 7.1. So, this sounding is similar to what I was showing earlier, with those really strong upper level winds, the strong shear southerly winds becoming westerly up the anvil layer. And so, that's something that's very consistent with this system. Another thing too is the low the low lifting condensation level, or quite literally where the cloud base would live, which is very low, between, I would say, 1,500 to 2,000 feet. So that could help produce that low level moisture needed to generate a large or strong tornado. Some good news with this latest model run is how the updraft helicity track, it has weakened significantly. It used to be a long track supercell that was coming from northeast Nebraska and all the way into southeast Minnesota. Fortunately, with this model run, it is much weaker and also much shorter. That doesn't mean that long track supercells aren't going to happen. It's just a good indicator that it could be weaker than what we were expecting yesterday. So this is the 06Z model run, still the same time, just an earlier model run showing an example of what I was talking about before. Still pretty weak, or still not as long of a track, but it does have it intensifying into southeast Minnesota. Um, so it's a good thing that it's looking more like this now. However, it is a bit of a longer track, so that's something that I'm going to be having to keep a closer eye on. Um, as we approach this evening. Although the helicity tracks are shorter and weaker, the HRRR is consistent in showing some possible semi-discrete to discrete supercells developing. So, if they are able to develop, then the helicity will increase, and we will have more of a hostile environment primed for generating long track supercells. Overall, I'm in pretty good agreement with what the SPC is saying for the strongest tornado threat being in this area right here, north Iowa, southeast Minnesota, into west central Wisconsin, with a widespread area of a significant tornado possible, with the greater portion of Iowa, a larger portion of southeast Minnesota, and pretty much the entire state of Wisconsin. Overall, keep a close eye on today. If you live in that area, there is still this 10% hatched area in western Oklahoma as well for tornadoes, which I'm going to be breaking down in a separate forecast after this. So stay tuned for that if you want to have a forecast for that region as well.